some 2 to 3 decades ago. Tanggalin ko na. When there were no smartphones, messaging was done through letters, telegraphs, telephones, fax, or messenger services. Delays and inconvenience characterized the transmission of communications. Now, may I see a raise of hands? Sino sa inyo may mga smartphones or cell phones? Practically everybody. Right? So, this Sermonette is for some of you, or not necessarily the rest. When Steve Jobs introduced the first iPhone in 2007, transmission of messages and data took a giant leap into the digital age. Today, calling, messaging, chatting, video conferencing are now real-time events. It is convenient, cost-effective, and executed anywhere as long as there is network connectivity. Amidst those benefits, the negative sides of using smartphone should not be overlooked. Smartphones, are they Boon or Bane? Let's first find out what a smartphone is. What is a smartphone? Nung dati, telephone. Naging cellphone. Nung nag-umpisa yan, yung pa yung hollow blocks na malalaki. And then things improve. Now, it's called a smartphone because it is only a handheld-sized personal computer with a mobile operating system integrated with broadband cellular network connection for voice, SMS, email, and internet data communication. I guess everybody knows this. The unit runs variety of softwares known as apps, operating systems, and most basic apps, calendar, clock, camera, web browser, and some others, come pre-installed while others are available for download. If you are using Android, Google Play. If you are using iPhone, Apple Store. The OS and operating systems and apps are updated as needed. Kaya malimit yan sa due for update. As needed to fix bugs and gain additional functionality. Smartphones have a touchscreen color display with a graphical virtual interface using a keyboard for typing and on-screen icons to activate the apps. This is just basic. How is a smartphone activated? You may have a smartphone but it will not work. Get it off the shelf, wala yan. Hindi tatakbo. How will you make it work? In the Philippines, only GSM. Type phones are available. There are two types, GSM and CDMA. Requiring a SIM which you purchase from a mobile network provider to work. Without the SIM, your cell phone is just a gadget. The card holds critical information to identify the user. This is how we know how to call each other. You have a number. And to account for the mobile toll in utilizing the network. Ayan. So, alam nila kung paano kang charge. Without the SIM, real-time communication is not accessible. The card comes either as postpaid for unlimited use or prepaid for pay per use. Presently, there are two mobile network providers in the country, Smart and Globe. So, almost a bi-monopoly. That's why the government wants a third telco. One, to reduce costs. Two, to improve speed of internet communication. And three, to provide stiff competition. Operating a smartphone is money consuming. I guess everybody is aware of this. Uses of smartphones. This is just a summary. There are 7 uses. 1, for communication. Use this as telephone, text messaging, email, other communication system. 2, as data keeper. You can use this for notes, office files, or you can use cloud storage provided in smartphones. Number 3, it can be used for news media. You have news, weather reports, sports. Real-time reports. Number 4, entertainment center. Ito very popular. You see people with earplugs, music, videos, and of course games. Number 5, as library information. With the smartphones, few people now go to libraries because they can access information directly from their phone with internet connection. Number 6, as a marketing medium. This is now being used for buying and selling. Not only Amazon, but you have Lazada, Shopee, and a lot of others. And number 7, utilities. I thought this comes free. You have cameras, calculator, clock, calendar, reminders, etc. Many uses. These days, almost everyone has a smartphone. Touch. Small kids, a smartphone. School kids, teen students, working professionals, and not to be outdone. Even drivers, domestic helpers, peddlers, even beggars. Surprisingly, I see them tinkering with their smartphones. While cell phones were originally used for calling, texting, perhaps playing music or very basic game, smartphones can now do almost anything digitally imaginable. Digital lang hindi yung physical. It is a means to an end that is neither good nor bad in itself. With all the wonders these handheld devices can do, it is not surprising that users spend a lot of time, day and night, hypnotized by the contraption. Users often get so absorbed that they lose sight of the more important things. The prince of the power of the air, identified by Apostle Paul in Ephesians 2:2, is now utilizing the smartphones to broadcast directly to the receiver. No subtle pa in his own tongue. If it's Chinese, he broadcasts to the Chinese. If it is German, he broadcasts to the Germans. Hindi na kailangan interpreters. Directly. Kasi yung smartphones na ginagamit depends on the region where you are. And the language depends on the user. Without subtleties. Apostle Paul never thought that what he said is a glimpse of the future. During his time, there was no such thing as power of the air. It were all subtle suggestions. To many, the phone is zapping them into a spiraling progression of complications. This is our topic for today. Number 1, interruptions. Number 2, distractions. Hindi yung you, A, distracted. Number 3, isolation. Number 4, addiction. Number 5, egotism. And number 6, idolatry. How does this thing get into the smartphone? And how does this smartphone embrace us into all these interruptions? Let's first discuss what interruptions mean. Smartphones transmit communication in real time. Send and receive in seconds. Pagkapadala niyan, tatanggap ka agad. Ring ka agad yung smartphones niyo. If the recipient is in a meeting, office, theater, wedding, and other gatherings, this convenience creates interruptions when the phone starts ringing. The sound is not only annoying but also disruptive. Look at this girl in a movie house. Everybody is angry. Dahil yung smartphone nyo nag-ring. Oh, see? Patingin lahat. It interrupts the people watching the movie and disrupts their ideas. When in gatherings, here is an advice. Use the smartphone features of Either put it in silent mode. Meron naman, pero karamihan nakakalimutan Or activate the do not disturb system. Paraphrasing Proverbs 16:14. Prevent interruptions before a quarrel starts. How many quarrels had interruptions created? Marami. So, sinabihan tayo sa Biblia niya. Number 2, distractions. What do you mean by distractions? Again, the real-time communication feature. Itong may ko dito May kasalanan Our smartphones can be reason of adverse incidents. Users at times call or text even while driving. In heavy traffic areas, road accidents caused by phone distracted drivers is increasing. It's not only in the developed countries, but also in the Philippines. Look at this. He's looking at the cell phone, and look at that, he's about to bump the car. This has happened so many times. And this we see in the news every day. What did the government do? At least the Philippines did something. To protect lives and limbs, the government now prohibits use of phones while behind the wheels, anywhere, be it in heavy traffic areas or clear rural roads. At least, somebody step in. Without this law, ang dami pa rin yung madisgrasya. Number 3, isolation. Ito, mabigat na problema sa cellphones. Smartphones can connect people anywhere in the world, like a small village. Ironically, however, phones can isolate users from family, friends, even partners who are at sight distance. Worldwide, pwede mag-connect. Pero yung makakilala, makakita kang ganyan, nawawala Look around eateries and gatherings. People seated around tables are not talking to each other because everyone is engrossed with their phone. Look at this picture. Bago nag-serve, everyone is using. This is not only true in the Western countries. It's now true here in the Philippines. Whenever we eat outside, we notice this. Very noticeable. Kahit saan ka kumain. Nagkukuha yung pamilya rather than talk to each other, they look at their cell phones. So, wala na yung communication. Even worse is the impact at home. Without vocal interaction, not talk, but more phone, is divisive and can severely hurt family relationship. Unless users wise up to choose personal interaction over digital communication, relations will continually be eroded. Look at the man. Inaantay niyang kausapin siya ng kanyang asawa. Very busy sa kanyang cellphone. Later on, they'll be divided. The 4th, addiction. Ito ang malaking sakit sa cellphone. Other than call and text, the most used apps are music and videos, puzzles and games, social media. During waking hours, seated or ambulant, users are already glued, addicted to their phones, oblivious of their surrounding. See these kids? They're looking at cell phone. Even now, I see kids looking at their cell phones rather than listening or closing their cell phones. Look, Bane, your kids are using the cell phone. See? This is a form of addiction which is not only true for mature users. What is really being affected by this as the small kids? They look at the cell phones not because of what they want to know, but because most of them are playing games. And these games are even detrimental to growing kids. Games of violence. The U.S. found out is the cause of most of the shooting incidents in their schools. How many met fatal accidents listening to music with earphones while crossing streets? I guess you have seen in the TVs, the news, there were already 2 incidents run over by a train. The first incident, the girl was killed. The other, because they have earplugs, they could not hear the horn of the train. The other one miraculously survived when they found out she was under the train. Why? Because of listening to the music. Playing games and watching videos while walking. Taking selfies in dangerous terrain. There were two Jews. Hindi ko lang makita yung picture about taking selfies. One in Ilocos, when they were taking selfies on that, and then the girl fall from a precipice. See, this happened in China. This girl was walking with a cell phone without seeing that this thing is open and fell into it. Accidents happen everywhere in the world. How about compulsive Facebook followers who cannot last 5 minutes without opening and checking the latest gossips, itching to like or unlike it, not to be left uncounted in the viral crowd? 1 million views, 2 million views. They put like. This is the thing that causes addiction. Without self-control or discipline, the users of smartphones may degenerate into a horde of zombies. I said may. It's my opinion. Number 5, egotism. For worldwide reach, Facebook is the medium of choice by smartphone users. Aside from messages and chats, pictures and videos can be shared. Most posting in FB are what I did, where I go, what I eat, what I wear, I, me. Most postings are like this. Smartphones have created a legion of egotists trying hard to outdo or outshine in their postings, friends, and masquerading foes alike. Many misunderstandings and quarrels are now channeled digitally. Nag-aaway sa Facebook. Meron ka-experience yan. At times, FB is used to exalt oneself or to bully strange friends. I got this picture of an old woman taking a selfie. What do you call this? Still egotism. A paraphrased Bible verse gives good advice. Titus 2:3. Teach smartphone users, the ones underlined, I just paraphrase it. Teach smartphone users to be reverent in the way they live, not to be slanderers or addicted to oneself, but to teach what is good. Idolatry. This is the worst of all. The allure of a smartphone is deeply embedded in the user's psyche. Some cannot live or live without it. Others are already umbilically connected to it. Laging nakadikit sa kanilang cellphone. Sabbath or worship service, which is only once a week, they can forget. But not their smartphones. Are these users not guilty of idolatry by committing the 21st century sin of phone worship? Look at this caricature. You have a golden iPhone, bowed down by people around. Parang yan yung panahon ni Moses with the golden calf. The second commandment states, "You shall have no other gods before me." To remain walking on the road to eternity, we must always put God first over anything else in our lives. Smartphones are slowly but surely changing us for good and bad, as the bad creeps into the crevices of our mind, corrupting our spirit. We are now at the intersection where our digital ways clash with our eternal destination. Let us wake up from this stupor and start to to nurture wise thinking and healthy habits in this digital age. It's never late. Let us maximize its many blessings and avoid its various pitfalls. Let us wisely wield the most powerful gadget of human connection ever enlisted. Apostle Paul admonished, "Wake up, O sleeper, rise from the dead, and Christ will shine on you. Be very careful then how you live, not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity, because the days are evil. Therefore, do not be foolish, but understand what the Lord's will is." Ephesians 5:14-17. With that, happy Sabbath.